was sassy.
Hey, it really was. I ain't gonna lie. I was sitting here like, that's what I'm
I
talking
mean,
about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different. I mean, I think it takes a lot to kind of look at something and say, this isn't me anymore. I don't belong here anymore. I've and it has nothing to do with the other person. It has nothing to do with that life. I can't bring anything here anymore. This does not support my growth. And it's
Absolutely.
what's funny is that you have to walk away from something that you love. The love isn't gone.
No.
It's just the what you need to grow, the spirit, the grounding, all of that we've been talking about today. When that's not being fed, you have to make a decision. Like when I hear a lot of people acting like a victim, you're not a victim. You know how to drive.
Hmm.
You know how to walk. You know how to make a plan. And it's the strength to do it. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not beating anybody up. My time was in chapter 5. Your time might not be into chapter 17.
Real.
But if you realize it in chapter 5, start making your plan. Start looking at things. And it might not be the situation. It may be, in fact, you.
Mm.
And is your growth being fed? Did you make the right decision to be where you are? I'm talking a job.
Yes.
I'm talking a relationship. I'm talking a house that's too big or apartment that's too small. I'm talking about being a player in your life
Yes.
and making decisions that you have to live by. And I think we're scared of it now. If I say put it on 23 on black, and if it don't come back, am I gonna have enough money to get home and have enough confidence before you place that bet? And that's a hard one. I can't play right now. I can't afford to lose.
Right.
You know, so I think about that. And another question they ask, I want to ask you guys. This was funny to me. They said, why do women like bad boys? They asked me
Adventure.
that. One matter of fact, one of the guys I had, he was like, she can be married with a dude giving her everything they want. She come back to me, messing around with me. And I said, that's interesting. I said, so I'm going to get in a group of women and I'm going to ask them because I see it. And he was telling the truth. I'm not saying he generalized all women.
I kind of think too.
Mm-hmm.
If we're looking at it on the surface, I
But,
think. Hold
I,
on.
I
I'm
want
gonna go
I want potato salad.
I'm gonna give you that.
I
I'm gonna give
want
you that.
barbecue plate. Let's
I'm gonna
talk
give you
how
that.
we. Yes,
I
ma'am.
promise you, but I'm going surface.
Okay.
So surface, excitement, adventure, because that's what. Oh, he's so exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Deep rooted. Some people don't want to be happy. Some people don't like stability because they find it boring.
Okay. So do you
That's a good.
is that validity when they say women, most women like a bad boy? Do you think that's a valid point?
I think as you're okay,
You
so
attracted to bad boys?
I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Now I won't even
That's what
look
I
that
was gonna
way
say.
because I found stability and I'm happy.
I
Thank
got
you.
you. I got you.
I was like, and I do acknowledge to myself. I'll be like, oh, there was a time where, oh, man, he could get it. You know.
Yeah, right.
Now I'm like, oh no,
Look
no,
at you.
no. That's my attitude now.
I
So
got
I
you.
do think we all go through that period, but it is no different than why he dating her. She sleep with everybody, and he talking about he love her.
Oh,
Hey.
Why
good
you love
point.
her? She
Mm.
out there.
Good
It's
It's the
everybody's
point.
same
birthday.
thing.
It is everybody's birthday, and all the ice cream and cake is between her legs for everybody.
Oh,
And you keep talking about you love her. She done burned you 3 times, but you keep
oh,
saying that's your girl. You love her.
oh.
It ain't no different. You have women who treat men like, for lack of a better word, kings and lords, but they go back to the woman who
You're
talks to them
absolutely right.
Exactly.
You are
horribly.
absolutely right.
So
Exactly.
that is not a once they're asking the question. No disrespect to you, man. I understand because I just still did a counter argument. But that's my counter argument because why do you keep going back to
Hey,
her?
and
She
that's a
treats
good
you
one too.
That is
bad.
a great point.
She
Great
cheating
point.
on you. You at home with the kids, and you
Like, what do
won't
you
leave.
want, sir?
Because
That
she
part.
because it all, I'm gonna say some of it all boils down to the fight and to the sex.
I'm sorry.
Because no, because
No.
sometimes I'm saying what I hear.
Uh,
I like arguing.
Look, sometimes
I
it's
used to like
passionate.
that.
I'm not an arguer.
Okay,
We,
wait.
we gonna debate. We got 2-3 times.
There's a couple of different coins on that, and I didn't mean to interrupt
That's
you.
okay.
Okay. So yes, when you're in a healthy relationship and you guys kind of get into it, and I have to tell him I'm not going to be your friend for 5 minutes, and he starts tickling me. Yes. Yeah,
Mm.
leave me alone.
Mhm.
Stop. Stop. Okay. You know,
I got
I
you.
get that. But
Mhm.
if you didn't cheated on me, gave me a venereal disease,
Oh, damn it.
Hey.
ain't no
Damn
sex.
it.
Ain't no sex.
Damn it.
You will never get this again.
Range
You
it
see what I'm
off.
saying?
Range it off. Range it
You
off.
can't even range it off.
Okay, so Taisha, why didn't you want to answer that question?
I just wanted to hear what everybody else had to say first, because I don't know. I remember feeling like that when I was younger, but again, I'm like her too. Now I got stability. Like I don't even look at that no more.
Mhm.
But I think
Yeah, but
I think you
get
do
your
that.
little Tupac loving self. I'm
Yeah.
about to
Oh
come back
yeah,
to you.
I still love Tupac. Now Tupac, I'm sorry, my husband he got to look. Tupac came back today.
Look.
I don't know what to tell you.
She
But
had Forest Lawn. We like Rose Hills talking about Tupac.
Is the name of this episode gonna be like "We Still Love Tupac"?
I love
Hey.
him. Oh my god. But yeah, I would say like when I was younger, I did. I liked.
What was it?
I thought that was the like who didn't want this bad boy? Like you
Mhm.
know, like you
I
just
got
thought that
you.
was the trend. That was just what it was. You know,
Was
it
it
was sexy.
exciting?
It was exciting. All the things she was saying,
And
so
the money?
exciting. It's fun.
Okay.
But you know deep down, like I knew,
It ain't
like
gonna work.
I ain't gonna be with this. I'm not gonna be with this person.
Mhm.
I knew that.
Okay. A little edge on them. What do you think,
Yeah.
Chanel?
I like bad boys. I need a mixture. Actually, you have to be a bad boy. I got brothers.
Oh, hey.
Listen.
Yeah.
Like, any potential boyfriend, I have to ask him, can you fight?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that like I want you to fight my brothers.
She has
but
4
you need to
brothers.
fight.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
4
For your
brothers.
life.
Are you the baby too?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
She's the 4th.
Yeah, I'm not getting in the middle.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, they gotta have
Yeah.
some little
You gotta
balance,
fight.
you know.
But
They want a
yeah.
balance.
Yeah, like you Tupac and an intellectual and an activist
Exactly.
and
Uh-huh.
loves
You
his
wanna-
mama.
You need to be an accountant with a gambling problem.
Yes.
I got you. Okay.
Well, it's
I
kind of
got
like
you.
what that comedian said. She said, when you're younger, you're like, I'm the ride or die girl. But as you
Mhm.
get older, you like, where we going and why I
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
die?
No, that's what I'm saying.
I ain't
You
trying to
know,
die.
extra.
You
Yeah.
know
I ain't
what?
trying to die.
I've never been a bad boy woman.
Really?
Oh,
No.
I
And
love
everybody
it.
said that. It was like, why do women? I don't. That's what was my thing. I like nerds and I like complex men.
Mhm.
I like men with layers. That's what I'd be like, I like he's okay. I want to learn him. I want him to let me unpeel him. You get me?
That
I
sounds
want to.
sexy.
Don't it though? It can be for the right
true.
money, but I mean, no. I like men with layers. I like that. I'm like and to me, and he's passionate about me, and that's where that edge comes in. You understand what I mean? Because if they have layers and they're complex or they're a nerd, there's something they're passionate about, and that it's in there, and I want to go get it. I want to find it. You understand what I mean?
And they're usually freaky.
I mean, possibly, but I mean, I appreciate the sex and might be in a drive by with I get the bad
Now, I
boy
ain't never
thing.
did that type of
No,
thing.
I
That's
get
just
the
too
bad boy
much.
thing because I do like my sister used to tell this joke like if somebody walk up and rob us on the street, who gonna hide behind who? I don't want that cat.
Right.
You understand what I mean? I like I said with me feeling secure is big. Even whether and it's different things. It doesn't it's not even technically financially. But like you said, I really want to feel like I'm not alone in just this. You know what I mean? If it's nothing but sharing microwave popcorn, you get me, and watching that same episode of Law and Order, he rubbed my feet while I read to him, and like boring little stuff like that.
That's
And
not
I
It's
like
really
I
not.
like seeking self, and you really get to a person's the innards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The innards.
Yeah.
That's what I want. That's what
You
I
go
like.
get that girl.
Girl,
And that's
shit,
true.
I had it 4 weeks ago. You understand me?
Right. But no, that's true because that's when you build that trust, and then things that like they typically would not share with anyone, or they will tell you, "I've never shared this with anyone, but I feel secure enough to share it with you."
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they do, and you're absolutely right. They do start to flower. and blossom.
Exactly. I love the blossom. I
Yeah.
love the you're safe with me. And I try to convey that with everybody that I
Mhm.
intertwine with. I never want anybody to feel worse off after interacting with me. I want to
true.
leave you with something.
Yes.
You know what I
That's
mean?
what it's about.
it has to be. You know, just enlightenment costs nothing. I will never try to put my opinion on you, but I'd really love to hear what you on. You know what I mean? And I appreciate you enough not to say, nah, but you should do. Nah. I'm learning. You know what I mean? I'm a weirdo.
No,
Sometimes.
Really?
I mean, and that's I like hearing what people, say, so that I kind of like, that's what I like. And I hear something, I'm like, okay, stay there. I really want to hear what you have to say, and I want to hear what you have to say. And that's what like I said, I'm a weirdo. I
But
be
you're
I be
really
calling the
not.
geek squad, and I don't want. I just be like, I ain't got no computer.
I will say that because sometimes this is why I say you're not a weirdo.
Okay.
Sometimes when you meet someone who has a different perspective,
Mm-hmm.
not only are you enlightening him, he's enlightening you.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what happened in my relationship. I was like, it wasn't the physical attraction right off the bat. I was attracted to the way he thought because it was so different from me. I was like, something wrong with him.
Mm-hmm. So
Something's really wrong with this cat, and I need to know as a psych major, I need to find
what is sexy about you?
out about me,
Mm-hmm.
my mind,
That's what's up. Why is your mind sexy?
because my imagination run deep.
You ain't. I promise.
Mm-mm.
I hear you, but I got you.
And when like for me, like coming here today,
Mm-hmm.
I literally kept calling, like texting you, and it was like, how come she won't give me no more information? And in my mind, I was like, do I need to bring her flowers and balloons? Do I need to bring alcohol? What do I need to bring?
You know what?
Because when you care about someone, and this is what I'm saying about your imagination, when you really care about someone, it doesn't stop at basic.
Mm.
And if it when you're in a romantic relationship, it sure in the hell don't stop at basic.
Oh no,
So
it
for
doesn't.
me, my most valuable asset
Is your mom. That's the
definitely
sexiest
my
thing
mom.
about.
Hell yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna get to you guys in a moment. I want you to think about that, and that has absolutely nothing to do with anybody else. It's you. When you feel in that way. I can be with my damn self. Damn. Whatever that is to take you there. But you spoke on something really quickly, and everybody that I bring in this space, they have that. What's she calling me for? You know what I'm saying? And I always tell you have to know me. I'm not gonna put you in a I'm never gonna put you in a position to where you're gonna look away. I'm never gonna put you in a position. And I appreciate that most everybody I'll call, they trust in me. Okay, when you want me, I'll be there. But you be like, oh, what you gonna talk about? I got you. I ain't gonna got you. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that people, in my track record has shown that when I tell you something, you can trust me. I got you. This is going, it's gonna be maybe mutually beneficial, hopefully, and if nothing else, enlightenment. And you know what I mean? Because I think you have something to say. And if I don't think you have something to say, I would not have reached out to you.
Real talk.
Yeah, so and I think at the end of the day, everybody has something valuable, and
Yes.
sometimes I just want to help you see it, and you take that and run with it. So
I
what's
love it.
sexy about you?
Oh, she took mine. I was gonna say my mind.
Mhm.
Um,
I mean,
it
her
definitely
mind
is.
ain't your mind.
It definitely
so
is my mind because I've been told that so many times. I could just talk to somebody and they just be like, "Who
Look
are
at
you?"
you. Uh-huh.
But I feel like that shows in just how I embody myself and how I am,
That's what's up.
my
How are you?
appearance.
How are you?
Um,
Let them people know.
What?
Let them know. Let them know.
I mean, I'm
Just
just
embody
saying that's
myself,
just
my appearance. I put that thing on.
yeah. Like
That's
I'm
what's
just
up.
saying, like my mind, it just shows. It shows when you meet me when we talk. It just all of that shows. I feel like that is the most sexiest part about me. If I had to say so myself.
That's what's up. I'm glad you're saying so. That's the
Yeah.
first part, my dear.
I'm gonna also say my mind.
Okay.
Because I'm a sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I have a heart.
Humor
I
is
think.
sexy.
I
Mhm.
think
is.
so.
It is.
Being
It is.
able to
Everybody say
maneuver
that.
and find some humor
I
in this
think
world,
so.
that's
It goes a long way. Like say it can be a cute guy and you can't make me laugh, and you just cute and you can walk away.
Real talk. Real
I
talk.
hear that. I want to do if they know how important that is to women.
They need to.
It's so important. You make a girl laugh, man.
Yeah.
Get the panties.
Let me laugh and make me a plate. Make me a
It
plate
really
and
is
laugh.
sexy. Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's a good time right there.
Mm-hmm. Sexiest thing about me, probably my FICO score. Probably.
Hey.
Amen. Amen.
I ain't even mad.
What's something that is sexy to you? But it's something that maybe people might not see it on the surface, but it's like I like the way he fold that fitted sheet that I
Yes.
can't. Oh, damn. You know what I'm saying? What is something that might not be obvious, but that's something that men have, or that's something, or like somebody listen to that spousal. It can be men or women or whomever, but you specifically right now that is not maybe as obvious, like in terms of maybe your husband.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I tell him all the time. I love the way he when he learns something new, or when because he's a sponge that dude, he loves to be learning. I love that he's not scared to put it in action. You know, a lot of people sometimes we can learn things and we just sit on that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I heard that before. No, he got to figure. He got to make sure it's real. Like, and he'll go do that. And I tell him I love it. I love that you always take action, and it inspires me to do that as well. So I like being inspired. I like that I can learn from my husband. Like,
I've said it before. If I can't learn from him, I have to be able to learn from him.
He's so smart. I be like, dang, I just be listening to him like,
sexy.
Hey, when you know that? Because I've been with you a long time. Like, when did you learn that?
She over there just wrenching the gotta wrench him out.
I honestly do love that.
That's good. What about you?
I think for me, honestly, I don't know how this is going to come about, but I agree with you as far as like people going to school and getting diplomas and certificates of graduation from higher degrees. It's useless unless you put it into action. So what I find sexy is because my parents told me I had to go to college. So anytime I needed anything, I went back to college so many times. I don't even want to read a book right now. You understand me? So what I find sexy about a man, whether he went to college or not, is the knowledge and how he puts it into use. Because sometimes they didn't go to college.
Man, I you know what? I've learned more from someone
than me.
Yeah.
Because they understand this game we call life.
For sure.
So I'm telling you about what happened at work and how I'm all upset. And he's like, why are you upset? It's about the money. You worried about something small. Don't worry about that. Worry about this. And you like, but you're right though. But you've never been at my job. You listened to me. You heard what I said. And you're able to twist it around because now you're putting it in real life situations and you diffuse me feeling however I was feeling, and the night was saved.
Yeah. When a man is in his element, like when he's doing what he knows how to do and he's really good at it, and he just in his zone. I'll just be staring like
just be enamored with him.
He could be doing nothing, just staring in the zone of what he knows how to do, and just for some reason, like he looks cuter and handsomer and sexier to me. Like when they are in their zone, in their bag, and doing what they are passionate about, what they know how to do. Something for some reason, that's a turn on.
Yes, it is. Hand clap, finger snap, finger snap. Love y'all answers. Yes.
The guy I date, he always says, if you don't know how to do it or you don't want to do it, you pay somebody to do it. And so when I moved and he was fixing stuff around my house, I was like, I don't
that's
know.
Another one.
I don't know.
That's another one fixing stuff.
Yeah, that's sexy.
I got a little James Evans crutch, a little corner. You know what I mean? Mess around, have a tool belt. That's that's a couple of points. Where you were talking about before, more femininity.
Yeah.
We like masculinity, and like sometimes our idea of masculinity is one versus the other, but that down at the primal man child
stuff you ain't gotta worry about. You know it's gonna get done because
and I spoke about that before. The worry on a woman's head when she has a man and still has to worry about things. That is so unsexy. That's 2 + 2 is 9. That doesn't go. You understand what I'm saying? That doesn't go. Can you be in this life and not have love?
Ooh.
Can you be in this life and not have love?
No.
I wouldn't want to.
Right.
But I don't know.
What's love to you?
Yeah,
what's love to you? That's a hard question to answer, isn't it?
It is.
what
Not for
love
me.
is.
I thought
Okay.
about it.
Oh, yeah. I feel like ain't nothing hard for you to answer. Go ahead.
Only just since, you
Well, I mean, I know, but
know.
outside of someone, and that's what I always look at. Outside of another being, what does love look like?
I can answer both of those.
Go on with your black ass.
Okay, so for me, I think you know how like this is how my mind equates to what
Okay.
love looks like.
Okay.
You know how like that day that you know you're going somewhere and you know you're sharp and you look in the mirror and you wink at yourself because you know you just boss balling that day. Every day that you feel like that, that's what that love feels like.
Okay.
But it also encompasses that day where you know you're a little tired because you know something had happened in the family, and you can still look in the mirror and wink at yourself and say, "I may not feel because I got all this on me, but I still love me." That's how I see it. That's my little thing. If I can look in the mirror and I absolutely like what I see, fresh out the shower, when I'm dressed up, no matter what I'm going through, that is that self love. That means my barometer hasn't gone up and down. It might have got shaken. Self esteem might have got shaken.
Got you.
You know, but it's steady.
What it look like to you, Taisha?
So are you asking?
So when okay, I think oftentimes what we get and think is love is what we think is love. It's not really doing for you what you think love is to do. I think we're all kind of given this as we grown up. We're kind of being fed what love looks like.
You are right.
And in my experience, creating a clear definition individually of what that is more paramount than what you've been fed. So when I ask that question, I'm asking from like a very genuine place. I'm asking to Taisha, what does it feel like to you? What does love feel like to you?
Oh, love feels pure. It feels so light because it is light.
Yes. Yeah.
It feels secure. It feels I don't know why I just keep going back to like pure and intentional.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
You asked me if I could go without that from somebody else.
Can you go without having that energy in your life, that love energy? Can you
No.
Especially after you define it. Especially after you define it. When
I
you
will never
know
be
what
able to go
love
without
is,
that.
that's yeah. After you define it, you know, you wish you can go to Costco and get one on aisle 15.
That's not something that
But you can't.
that is pure and that comes only from within. See, even if we call ourselves feeling like this person loves me, the only reason you can receive love from anybody else, and this is so true, is because you have it.
Right.
You understand it. If you didn't understand love, you wouldn't even know if this person loved you or not, no matter what. So that is a great question because
Thank you. $15.
That's something that we do have to recognize. Like, what is that to me?
And I asked that question because I think more of us need to do that because, like I said again, I think when I talk about who you allow in your life, if you go back 20 years, it's going to be different than now and then. If you go 20, it's always, you're evolving. And I asked that question because I think that what life is about pulling back the layers of you. I think that's why I'm attracted to complexity. Because you're admitting it's this vulnerability about, I'm just trying to figure this shit out. I'm really, I'm really at a place, no, I don't have all the answers, but I know this feeling right now. And when I say you're fed this idea of what love is and what love's supposed to look like and what your family is supposed to look like and what you call it. But I think the beauty is defining that for yourself. But you have to hit the realization. And I think this happens because oftentimes I can't tell you how many essays that I've read when I was doing the high school program. And I can't tell you how many essays I've read where students were coming out to me, but their family didn't know. Because I was a safe space and that type of thing. And part of it, and because I found it interesting and I actually want to do a show a conversation about that. But I explained to them, I said, I think you should talk. I said, but I think you need to be patient with your family because something you have to understand is that oftentimes from when we're little, we're fed what something should look like. And in realizing what it is and not what it looks like, that has to die almost. You have to let that go. And that's not a hard process. It's not that they're not accepting. They have to let go what they thought it was. Give them time.
Yes.
So I say that to you. You have to give yourself time to realize, you know what? The 2 kids and a dog and a picket fence and he's an accountant and I'm a this and we, and the cookies and, fresh cookies and, movie night every Saturday and, this existence. And then, a variation of that, that's what you were fed what your life is supposed to look like. And you have to go through the process of saying, is that what I want? And when it's not, it dies. And you have to allow it to in order for you to really create and be able to pick up on that thing that you really seek.
Yeah.
That genuineness. You talk about that pureness that you really seek. Because when I go back to marriage and and being married, marriage is its own thing. You have this person, you have that person, they have themselves. Marriage has its own bloodline. And love is I hate to say that, love is not within marriage. You put love into a marriage, but marriage is essentially a unit. And essentially, but it has its own life. So like when you go through a divorce and things of that nature, you have to mourn it.
Yes.
You have to mourn all the things that you thought would encompass it. And that was a hard process for me.
Yeah.
I had to go within. But what I also had to find out was that that's when my relationships with people began to change. I had to start. My relationship with people began to change, and I'm talking about people. Like when I talk about the girl, when I was talking about 15 minutes ago, where I go and she and I say, "How was your day?" I had to get to where everybody I encounter, I had to take myself out of it. And I always say that your ego has to die. If you want something successful with someone else, your ego has to fall by the wayside. It has to, because that's that kind of, I'm not going to say image, but it's this thing that you carry in addition to yourself.
Yes.
You got to let it go.
That's that attachment.
And I agree with that, because even your self-love, your ego has to go.
It has to.
And that's why I gave the analogy, because it for me, words get in the way for me.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because of what I do every day. But for me, it's always images. And that image is, no matter what I'm going through, I can look in the mirror and look at myself, because I still love me.
For sure.
And that's pure.
For sure.
I like that word.
Yes.
That pure love for yourself. That didn't happen overnight. I had to work at that.
Right.
And when I think about my relationship, I tell him all the time, he's my fortress. And why is he my fortress? Because what he brought to the table, that security, that pureness, that I will be here if you fall.
Mm-hmm.
I will never judge you, and I will keep all your secrets. I didn't really know if I had any secrets,
when do you
but I
tell
wanted
your
to make
secrets?
some up.
When do you tell your secrets? Whether it's a friend or relationship, when do you feel safe to tell those things about yourself that nobody knows?
When you have trust.
Do you ever?
Some people never tell their secrets because they don't trust. But once you build trust, and it's not something you can build overnight, that is not something you can build overnight.
I got you. When do you tell your secrets?
Yeah.
I remember telling them relatively early, just something I probably never told anybody else, just so that person gets an idea of who I am and how you're supposed to move based on what I experienced already.
Right.
So it can go any way, but I've been known to tell them early.
Do you share your traumas with people?
No, not really, not often. It depends on if I'm never gonna see you again, something like that. Like you're a stranger.
Do you find that strangers judge you less, or they don't? It's not judgment. I don't know, but it's hard to tell someone that you have an attachment to things about you and things about your experience. Whereas like if you go to maybe a support group, or you're sitting in you're with your doctor, or you're sitting with somebody and it's very it's a safe space to say what you want to say, but the closest person to you does not know that about you. That's a hard existence.
Because the closest person to you has the power to hurt
Yeah.
If that closest person to you say, "You did what?"
Right.
That will tear a hole in your heart that will drip down to your stomach, and you feel like it's so gaping it will never heal.
Mm-hmm.
A stranger, who cares?
That's true.
So yeah, you can go to a support group and be like, "Yeah, when I was high, I killed my mom."
Oh, damn.
You can say
Sounds
something
like-
like
I
that.
don't know if I would tell the
No, but I had to go extreme. I
She
had
just
to go
explained-
Yeah,
extreme.
they got GPS. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
hey,
no.
look here.
I went extreme.
They
for
be
a
on the
reason,
phone. Old
because
girl in the blue jacket.
everybody in there.
I'll go ahead and bleep
Right.
this out.
Everybody in there. I went
Right.
extreme for a reason because everybody in that support group has also been an addict and done things. So
Right.
there's no judgment.
Mm.
They might be like, "Yeah, I robbed this person. I don't know if they dead or not." They have similar experiences.
Mhm.
But you can't go to your mom and be like, "Look, I was high. I killed your mama." No, you can't do that.
Right. I got
You
you.
know, so and again, going extreme just to prove the point. So that's very difficult. You and those people that you love, you're hoping that they're always going to be there for you. They're your support group. So the last thing you want to do is tell them something where they're going to be like, "You did."
Okay,
What?
so let me ask you a question based on that. Let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
How much do you care of what someone thinks of you, someone that you love? Like, for example, you know how people say, I don't care what nobody think of me, but
That's a lie.
I know that the people that are in my life, you know, I care what they think about me. The general public, man, please. But the people in my life, I do care. How was that walk? How was the walk that, okay, I really need to share this, but I care about what they may think. But I really do need they need to know
hear
this
it,
thing.
yeah. It's hard. It's different. It's always a different journey. I think for the most part, when people say, "I don't care what anybody thinks," that's a defense mechanism, and those are the people who care the most about what people
Right.
think. Um, I think it's hard. My experience with my own father, there's things that he said to me that he felt I needed to know, and it was very hard.
Mm-hmm.
It strained the relationship for a while.
Let me ask you, and I was going to ask all of you guys this. Actually, it's on my list of one of the things to ask. Do you think your relationship with your father moves or shows up in your life?
Hell yeah,
How so?
because that like I'm saying the things that sometimes my dad will say.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's stuff that if you wanted me to know, you should have told me that growing up.
Right, but when I say how it
So,
shows up in your life, I
because
mean,
I'm the same way like I was with everybody that I dated. You know, it's like I would come at them like, "You need to tell me what you need to tell me now. I don't want to hear we've been together 10 years and you're going to tell me, like you said, you got a family in Alaska and you got 5 other kids. I want it made me kind of like abrasive. Like, I need to know and I want to know now.
got you.
So all that femininity that they talk about, yeah, it wasn't happening.
I got
And then
you.
I'm in their face because I'm like, you know, we ride or die together. You know,
Got you.
Bonnie and Clyde. I'm feeling like it made me aggressive where I was like, if I have to, I will beat your ass in the middle of the street if it needs to protect my. I was angry.
I got you.
So now it's different because I had to find me.
Okay.
So that's what when going round robin to when you said the men in your life, hell yeah, they reflected all the bullshit I was going through. He got bullshit, I got bullshit. Trauma bonding.
I got you. I got you. Taisha.
You gotta repeat the question. Now, 'cause you
Sure, no
asked 3
problem at all.
questions
Does
that I didn't get to.
does your relationship with your father show up as the woman in your life today? How you move as a woman in your life?
I believe so. I believe so.
How so?
I had a great relationship with my father. I still do. I appreciate him so much. My dad was actually the more calmer, you know, of my 2 parents,
Mine
and
too.
it was always talks, and you know, just making sure I understand, and I appreciated that, and I think I do that a lot. And not only that, I always said I wanted a man like my dad, and I
Not
did
what-
find a man that
Nice.
was that's similar to my dad, like, and it's crazy.
That's nice.
So yes, I would say
Do you think that if you didn't have the relationship that you have with your dad, you'd be a different woman?
I probably would.
How
I'm not
so?
gonna lie. Because I see a lot of people who, just from experiencing others who didn't get to grow up with their dad or may have, not that same relationship that I do have with my dad. I see how they are when it comes to picking men, trusting men, and just being able to have that bond. I think that's probably the reason why I'm able to be in a relationship with my husband as long as we've been, because I've had that example of what a man should be,
I
So
got you.
when he showed me that, it was like, okay, this is what I'm used. This is what I know.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that played a big part, honestly.
I got you.
And I didn't realize that until you just brought that up.
Appreciate you. I ain't even gonna charge you. I ain't even gonna charge you. You can have that for free. But the
Thank
next
you.
time, what about you, my darling? I know you're close to your dad.
I am. For anything I know about pro-blackness, about our leaders, the Panthers and Malcolm, Muhammad, came from my dad, and I kind of I was proud of that. Like coming up, I used my what's that? I want to say junior thesis. It was on the Black Panther Party. So yeah, that comes from my dad and sports and stuff like that. All that. I don't know if I move. Well, yeah, I do. I move a certain way. Like you say I'm an activist. I'm not. I'm a slacktivist. I need to go
like
out
that.
and actually move and actually do things.
Oh, you're doing things. You know when you create thoughts. You understand what I mean? And I don't think people get how inspiring a thought in someone. I don't think people get how big that is.
Power of suggestion.
Right.
Absolutely.
And always, my daughter was like, "What are you doing? You gonna be an influencer?" And I'm like, "No, I don't. I wouldn't want to be an influencer." And I've said it before. Influence that suggests bias. I don't want to influence anybody to do anything. I just kind of want to inspire you to take another look at it. Maybe it can start a spark somewhere.
Right.
What about how you interact with other people? Your interactions. I can make an observation.
Okay. Go ahead.
I think that your relationship with your father gives you the strength to reject what you don't think is for you. You're able to make clear judgments as far as what you want and what you won't allow into your space. I see that. Would you say, and you talked about it a second ago, would you say that, like, maybe friends you have or people that you come across, do you think slightly you can tell the difference between your women friends, those that had dad around and those that didn't? Because you hear men say it. I want to know, do you ever pick up on that?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I also pick up on who's had a good relationship with their dad and who hasn't. And I think just based on my own relationship with mine, as much as I love him and respect him, I learned a lot of what not to do and not how to come at women.
You know what? And I'm gonna help me. Thank you for that. That's an honest thing to kind of reveal.
I learned not to bring the victim. But I think it's also the generation he came from, and that's not a defense. I really think it's the generation.
I was gonna say, I think I always go back, and we were talking about this when I was talking to the men and we talked about it before when I said, do you know your mother as a woman? Like, do you know your father as a man? And that's kind of, it's hard. That's what I always say. Everything I look at, I have to take myself out of it. And looking at him as a man, when I take myself out of it, he's not father anymore. He's just a man.
Yeah.
So I look at him as a man. And do I like that cat? Can I go have a beer with that dude? And, let me learn him. You know what I mean? I do the same with my mom. When I take myself out of it with her, she's just a woman. I think that when you talk about that generation did some monumental things for us.
Absolutely.
And they thought more community. They thought more inclusive. My mother was telling me a story one day about how I think the janitor got sick at the hospital she was working at. And he got sick. Everybody in the hospital that was Black made sure that he had what he needed. Like, he was off of work. They didn't meet him just because it was their time. It was that time. They were happy to have jobs. It was the 70s. you supported your folks.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, and I wish we had that. I see it when, like, if I'm at Target or I'm somewhere and I'm in line with a Latino woman that doesn't speak a lot of English, and I'll see someone that's bilingual come to her defense like that, and they'll come, okay, what are you saying? They'll say they'll hear what she wants, and they'll translate it for her. I think that's dope that somebody has your back. It's not about anything else. That she, I can help her and she needs my help. That's my folks. We used to have that type of community. That generation did it. Some of the things, they didn't talk as much, and there were things that they didn't do as much, but they did a lot. And because of what they did, we're allowed to. I don't feel like doing that. They didn't have that option. They had to do. And I think on some scales we have to look at how we give back. But I think that there's a very sometimes distinct, that's who you learn. That's your first love. I know it's cliche, but your dad
is the first person of the opposite sex that you meet.
Yeah.
And it has a tremendous impact on you.
Heck yeah.
And so with me, I had to learn to look at it because I understood the generation he was from.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood that they didn't talk about things.
Mm-hmm.
So now, as I'm a lot older now, I can see that that's why now he's able to come say things, or not like today, but as I'm growing up, where I was like, that was inappropriate, but they didn't learn that skill because everything was about the community, everything was about making strides, so that we as a people had things. So when you talk about look at him, look like. Can you see your father as a man? It's like I realize that my dad is brilliant. You can ask him anything. He's like a walking encyclopedia. But I also understand that he had a lot of trauma in his life, and he never addressed it until now. And it's hard for him.
Right.
So instead of being angry, which I was when I was younger, now I understand. So there's that one thing. Yeah, you taught me not to do this, but you also taught me to be kind and understanding,
right?
Because of this, because I witnessed it when you talk about them, and I never thought about seeing him as a person, But that is like the best question.
That is so. I have to say this. That is so important.
Yeah.
This is just that concept alone has made me look at my family and so many other people in a different light, because that gives you compassion. That's what we need to have, because we did not walk in their shoes. We don't know what they went through. It wasn't their intention. It wasn't their intention.
They don't feel valued right now.
Right.
That generation, they feel like this generation after us, they don't respect them. And a lot of our parents don't feel valued right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, but when you have that compassion for where someone has been through and where they come from, it just allows you to see them in a different light and no judgment. That's where the no judgment comes from. I think we all got to start looking at each other like that, just because I don't know what happened to that person. I don't know what made them be the way they were, because I know it's not their intention. No, it's nobody's intention to be not a good person.
Well, it's kind of the example I give. Like sometimes when I'm in the office and you have a mom who, for lack of a better word, is a sex worker. This has always been, well, Miss Walker, what do you think? I'm like, we don't know what other choice she had to make.
Right,
that might have been the most viable choice for her.
Right.
Because the other one could have been death.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that's just
you're right.
how I see it.
Right. You don't know her choices. No. She did that, and you don't know, it might have been a gun or a knife. Which one you choose?
And then that goes back to your question of, do you talk about your trauma? See, and then they can't talk about it to a family member or no one, or why they had to make that choice or why they did that. So they hold that. And now they look like the bad person.
Right. Even to death sometimes, unfortunately, that person died, not, people not really knowing why.
Yeah.
There's secrets, or there's some type of conflict in the family. That person dead, so they can't tell what happened, and probably after, people around them can say, well, this is what happened to him, or this is what happened to her. That's why she moved this way, and that's why she did this, and that's why he did that.
That's why it's important to know people's stories.
That's true.
ask sometimes.
make
too.
Yeah.
people
We have to
make
ask.
people feel comfortable with sharing
Yeah.
and knowing they don't have to hold that trauma and
Yeah.
suppress that.
You ever tell somebody something and you see it and they feel like, and you that's when the story stops. You know, you when you feel like you're being judged or you see somebody
Yeah.
looking at you a certain way, you know, you kind of hold off on maybe sharing particular things. I want to ask you guys one more question, because you know I was speaking with a room full of men and they brought this up, and I just get tired of the narrative, so I'm just going to ask you guys. The conversation came up about why women cheat. I'm just
women cheat?
why women cheat. You know, the men thing we can talk about if y'all want to, but why do you think women cheat?
You know, I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there like this. I don't know the answer to the question,
Okay.
but I will say this: the caliber of women I know, and you guys have now been extended into that family. Usually, women aren't typically willy nilly like that. So, women have to have an emotional attachment. So, I'm gonna go ahead and from deductive reasoning and say it's because he left her no choice. Like he wasn't feeding her emotionally. Because we don't usually be like, oh, he cute. Let me
Lord.
give him this. I don't feel like we as women do that. Now there's a exclusion to every rule, right? Exception to every rule. You do have women who get down like that. No judgment. But for the most part, we have to have a physical attraction. We have to have some emotional investment. I mean, so I would have to say maybe he didn't take care of home.
Okay. What do you think?
I don't know people's business. I don't know why they move somewhere where they move, but I don't know. I would have to kind of just piggyback of what she said. That's all I know is that it's been told that when women cheat, it's an emotional attachment. It's not so much what this man looks like, and not all the time, but that's just what I've been told. That's why women go out and do what they do is because maybe they weren't given attention. I don't know. See, I feel like I'm saying it wrong.
No, don't feel like you said there is no right or wrong answer. Men just feel like they got the answer. And I feel like Fernando gonna say something, but I want Ty to say something first. So go ahead, Taisha. What you think?
Fernando gonna be like, "Cause they tricks."
Yep. That's what he gonna say. That's exactly. Go ahead.
I would say, and this is just for women who probably are in like relationships, not your young people who out here just got what they call them, the sneaky links now. I just heard that. You heard of that?
What is that?
It's sneaky
Girl.
links. I guess it's
I just heard of it. I
Okay,
said,
well,
man,
enlighten me.
Oh,
the
that's
sneaky
just your
link?
side piece. I thought it was side
That's
piece.
the
When
new-
did they change it?
Side Piece Nation.
No,
Okay,
it's sneaky
why?
links.
When has being a side piece been honorable?
Right. I don't know.
It's like I know back in the days, like when our pops, people weren't always faithful, and people did what they do, but it used to be some kind of shame to it.
Not anymore.
I've been a side piece before.
You
Am
sound
I
happy about that. You
am I
guys can't
supposed
see
to
him. He's
feel?
smiling.
Am I supposed to feel
sneaky
shame?
link.
You said what?
Am I supposed to feel shame because I feel nothing at all?
I can tell.
That's the whole truth.
I can tell. You look
I'm
like you
scared of that
reminiscing.
scarlet letter A on my shoulder. I don't want that.
What you
brand.
saying? You were.
I wouldn't want to be a side piece.
Okay.
I read the book, The Scarlet Letter A, for adulterer. I know.
Do you think we all know? Do you think you know if you? They always say, men always say, y'all know.
What?
Like they always say, if you're a side piece, you know.
No.
No, sometimes
Baby,
I
if
think.
I know I
promise.
ain't gonna be no more.
No.
Right.
Exactly. Like,
But
if you find out you're the side piece, you got to roll.
yeah,
What
some
about the
people
ones
cool
that
with being
don't?
a side.
That's what I'm
piece.
saying. What do you think that is?
But
Low
back to
self-esteem.
Cheating.
the cheating thing. For a woman, I would say it because, like she was saying, it's an emotional thing for us. We don't just do things like we got to be feeling you. Like
It can't be just because it's Friday.
yeah,
No.
no,
Not
not if
for-
you in
not
no
for
real
most.
relationship.
Not
no,
for
no.
most. You have some
And
people.
see,
yeah.
sometimes things can be boring. Some things can be, it could be financial issues. It could be, just things going on to where you do things. Somebody catches your attention. I feel like this is what women, why we do it. Like why Not me, babe.
No.
I ain't cheating. But Angie trying to look.
Question.
Because what I know about women is what I'm saying is that we gotta be really feeling. It gotta be a reason, that you would stay in a relationship and then have somebody on the side. Like
Right.
why? It's either get rid of that,
Mhm.
but deep down you love what you have, but it's just not.
You want something to change.
It's
there,
not something you guys may be going through things to where you guys haven't been like this.
Do
Like,
you talk? Do people talk?
That's what you're
the
supposed to do.
problem.
Yeah.
That's
Probably
what
not.
that's what I talk. That's what I wanted to ask, and I didn't get to that because I
Right.
asked them too. What did you see that look like? What were you taught about communication? Do we say you know what we, something's not right. We need to fix it, or do we go out and just kind of get and
No, you
we
gotta fix
establish
it.
the men go supplement. They spoke on it. They
Especially
go
if it's
supplement.
worth it, you gotta
Yeah.
work on that.
Yeah.
But if it ain't, then
Why not
hold it?
leave?
Yeah, why leave? That's
That's my question. Why not leave?
To the women.
To anybody,
Oh.
to the women, to the men, because I answering my own question. Sometimes people don't want to have nothing.
Mm.
You know what I mean? They
So-
want to supplement, and then it's kind of like if I leave,
Mhm.
I
What do
might
I
not get
have?
it this good
It's a
again. Or what do I
gamble.
have?
It's a gamble.
Sometimes people will say because of the time I put in.
Yeah.
But if
Mhm.
you're not happy,
Time
you
don't
don't
matter.
need to be there.
All
Period.
day
Like
long.
sometimes things run its course. Maybe you guys were in each other's lives for
a
for
reason.
a season.
You see
but
people
Right.
getting divorced after
Yeah.
35 years.
Yes.
it's okay
Because
if
they
it
realized
doesn't
they
work
didn't
out.
like each
Exactly.
other.
Huh?
Because they realized they didn't like each other. Like seriously.
Wow.
But some people will hang in there knowing they not happy just because they
Wow.
got years in. It's how you had them old couples that don't like each other. They've been
Mhm.
together 50 years, but just ain't getting
The
ready
way
to
they do it work. They go one of them go down to Alabama for 6 months. Sometimes they got
Uh.
separate beds. Whatever it takes
Takes to make it work. But
to make it work.
they came from a generation that got married and stayed married.
Yeah.
That's true.
I was gonna say this. My grandmother told me something, and I have observed this to be true. Again, there's always an exception to every rule.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, when men cheat, they cheat down anyway, so they can't leave because the person they're cheating with ain't giving them nothing but what they think they're missing at home.
Mm.
Women tend to cheat up when they do cheat, but it does come from, my grandma say, men not taking care of home.
Mm.
So she could actually leave and probably be in a better position. But sometimes when there's kids involved, she will stay.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of different things, but most of the time women cheat up.
That's a good
Because you'll
point.
be like, okay, well, he got this, like.
I
Doing
heard
something.
didn't Jermaine Dupri cheat on Janet?
Yeah, I heard that last night.
That's crazy.
Wait,
Yeah, what does that
wasn't
tell you?
from a long
With
time
who?
ago?
Who do you
Don't
cheat
matter.
on?
How you cheat on Janet Jackson?
Well, my boyfriend always tells me, show me the prettiest woman in the world, and I'll show you a man tired of dealing with her.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
But
true.
Because she cute, but we don't know her mouth.
Right.
Mm.
But,
But
it
no,
also goes the other way
but no,
around.
what were you gonna say?
I was like, it flips the other way. You can show me the most handsome man in the world, and I will show you a woman tired of dealing with his ass too.
That's true. But what did you just say? Say that again.
I said just because she cute, we know her as Janet on stage, but we don't know like if she was making him happy or
I
making
mean,
He
him.
might have been psycho at home. You
Yeah.
don't know.
That's true. And another thing, were you about to say something? But another thing too is that
She's human.
she's human,
hmm
and what I think this is what to me sometimes sometimes when you're on the other side of infidelity,
Mm.
it feels an issue. It feels a way. But she didn't have any. She didn't have any. To me, and this is just my opinion, is that the person that's being cheated on very rarely has anything to do with why they were
Yeah.
cheated on.
That's true.
Mm.
You
And
know what I
that's
mean?
that is
Because didn't
absolutely
they say
true.
Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
know.
see, they in that, but they're in that light to where people are
Mhm,
around them all the
fans.
time. So
Here's what's funny.
But
When
see,
we not
now-
talked to that, when I talked about that with the men,
Explain that. What do you mean? I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Explain what you
I'm
mean by
saying
that
they're
in
in
light.
that environment
Mhm.
where that it's okay. Like they do that. They
You
do
think
those
so?
type of things.
See,
You think so?
I
Yeah.
disagree with that. I
in
mean,
the in the industry, it's a lot
You
of
know
things
what?
that go
so
on that
you know what I hear when you say that?
it's
That's
just-
like living in a neighborhood and we put a hat in the middle of the street and everybody drop their keys in there, and whoever pulls out keys, that's who you go
I
home
mean,
with.
we
That
we
But you
hear
in that
we
community.
hear
Y'all in
stories
the
about
studio late, and this is what I'm saying. This is their
we hear
environment.
stories
have to?
about
No, you don't. I'm not making
That's
an
my point.
excuse
Yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Now, I ain't right. I
Okay.
ain't
Oh,
saying it's
okay,
right.
okay. That's why I was
Oh
like, wait,
no.
where you going with
She's
that?
not saying that.
Hell
She's
no,
saying yeah,
I'm
it's
I hear
saying-
you now.
it's
I
a
hear you.
norm
I'm
in that.
saying that this is what they do. I mean, it's around them all the time, and
Then
And-
why
and-
is it that men want you to forgive them when they cheat, but if you cheat, they gonna leave your ass?
that's one of the expectations I talk about. The forgiveness, the you know,
Then why can't they forgive
because
us?
in there because men don't because men you know, and we spoke about that, men think that they can compartmentalize sex, and compartmentalize it to them means they can have it without love. They can go have sex, and I get that. Women can do it too. Women just see sometimes they just see the bigger picture, but at the same time, that's when men say women are more emotional. I happen to not agree. Women can put that somewhere. Women can say he cheated. You know what? The bigger picture, we can get past this. We can work on this. Men don't have the capacity
right.
in most cases to do that. And like I say, they are more of an emotional being. They're just not encouraged to share their emotions.
Mhm.
So
I
that's
see
one
that
of the
too.
reasons
Yeah.
why, you know, they don't. But with cheating, I think that you have to. I mean, to get past it, you have to take yourself out of it, and I think that they don't get the betrayal. You know that's it. It's like you did that in front of everybody.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
one time you'd be
Yeah.
like, where did y'all like? Did
It's
y'all
the
people
embarrassment
saw you?
more than anything.
Like you're like I'm possessive. You know, like I'm a Taurus. You're mine. People saw you with somebody else. You went outside and cheated on me. You took her somewhere. I mean, it's humiliating, and that's the part of infidelity
get.
I don't think people get.
Right.
It's humiliating.
Yeah.
That by far,
Yeah.
it is. You feel betrayed, and you feel like the person you thought that was in it with you kind of stabbed you in the back. It's like we you know we walking through this trail together, and you got me. You supposed to have my back, but
Yeah.
now you put it in the back, and I don't mean that in the back. Yeah.
I know what you
But
meant.
you
No
get
pun
me.
intended.
No much pun intended. But you get me. So I don't think people get that side of
And-
infidelity. It's not. I hear women say, you know what, I wasn't that into you anyway. I didn't put my whole heart in you because I knew you was gonna do so. I can't live like that.
Me
Right.
neither.
If I love, I'm all
Yeah.
I'm all in.
Nobody playing.
I don't have the I don't even have the bandwidth to act like
Right.
when I do that.
And see,
You know?
and then there's another part of that. I think that when people try to work it out in therapy
Mm-hmm.
together, you don't get to talk about how you feel betrayed. You don't get to talk about how humiliating it is because they're so focused on well, you guys want to be together, so they kind of focus on being forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
The other piece of that is if you are a woman who has the bandwidth to forgive, your family does.
Oh.
Your family be like,
Oh.
look, that's when you get that look where the story stops. You staying with him?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah.
I had a grandmother when I was telling her about the things that I was going through, and she said, no matter what anybody else tells you, you'll decide how you feel. When you get tired, you'll walk away.
Mm.
Best advice I ever had. Because
I agree.
when I got tired,
Yeah.
I walked away.
I agree. And that's what you do. So, and some things aren't worthy of any more energy. It's
No.
not worthy
Yeah.
of yelling.
No.
It's not worthy of anything.
No.
It's just, you know what? This was the time for this to kind of be over, and you have a peace. There's a peace. There's a sleeping good
Yeah.
when that peace. But
you grieve it when you have a loss.
you do, and I know I have a whole band of men that experience this. And you don't hear about their experiences a lot, and I know quite a few. One day I'll try and get them to have the conversation about it because I don't think that that's talked about enough, and I have quite a few that had the capacity to say, you know what, I love you, we can get past it. It's not many.
Well, I think again because they're not taught to express their feelings the societal
Right.
expectations. I think for those who can, they must have amazing moms and dads, you know,
Mm.
for them, or the lack of and learned how. Because, I mean, there's good and bad out of everything, right?
Right.
I think that's amazing because I was in my late 40s before I realized men had feelings.
Mm.
I'm just being honest.
I got you.
Because of my experiences, I was like, he can't feel anything because he wouldn't have inflicted that harm
That pain
upon
on
me
you.
and that pain, and then turn around and be like, "You want to fuck tonight?" No, motherfucker.
Oh
What?
Lord.
You not in jail? You not in jail? You know, I could have sworn you were supposed to be in jail.
You silly.
You know. So I mean, you know, I literally thought men did not have feelings. Like they were just built that way.
That's
You know.
that's an
Oh my God,
interesting
that's
thing.
it's so many women that feel like that too.
Because how could you do what you do to me
Yeah.
if you had any feelings?
Oftentimes
But
they're not
often all
taught to
that,
express them.
yes, that
Mhm.
is all it is nonverbal communication
They taught
because
to
you
move
can't
that
express.
thing around.
Yeah.
They
Because
taught
you
to move
can't
that thing
express.
around, and that
Yeah.
into sometimes and some men they know that's how they'll get a reaction. As opposed to I had some men in here, and I asked them. I said, if you couldn't provide something, or if you couldn't do something expected of a man, would that woman think less of you? And it was like unanimous. They said, yeah. And that's why I think this
Did you
needs
see
to
her little
happen.
face, Angie? I'm not interrupting you. I love her. She has a heart of gold.
Thank you.
You said, and then I'll let you go back. I'm sorry. I just have to acknowledge
No,
you.
you're
You're a
fine.
beautiful person.
Okay.
It's bringing tears to my eyes because you said that the men that spoke said, yes, I would feel less than. And she's over there with her little head like, no, I wouldn't feel that way about you.
Mhm.
I would not feel that way. And I'm in tears because you have learned something that, again, it took me to my late 40s to learn. You're going to go very far. I'm done. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I think
She's beautiful. She's beautiful.
and
Like, wow.
and I think I think I appreciate everything I'm hearing, and I think just learning a lot from people and from talking. I think we'll all fare better, um, peeling back the layers and meeting people as we find them, meeting them
Where they're at.
where they are, and the preconceived notions, although they're hard to leave out of your mind, you know, if you want to have communication, if you want to be genuine and pure, that has to happen. I can't, you know what I mean? If you're walking down the street and and you got a gun and you saying I'm gonna rob somebody, I'll hold my purse. But just because I heard dudes with jeans on rob people, I'm not gonna assume that's you until you put me in that position. So I think these conversations about you know putting to aside what we think. So when I ask that question, why do women cheat? I have no idea why you cheated. I don't know why you cheated. You talk to people and you see that there are different points of view. You may see they had some kind of payment arrangement. I don't know. They had something else, but it's
he pimped her out.
Hey, it has to be this. I can't make assumptions about why I think you did what you did. That's why I always want to talk to women and say, how do you feel about this? And what's funny is I get different answers. And that shows you right then that there's these blanketed statements that we use to approach you with because we have feelings about each other. Or this, I asked the man, and I'll ask you guys too, and that'll be my last question. When you walk into a room in your demographic, and when you meet your demographic, how do you feel? Do you immediately embrace her? Are you standoffish? How do you meet you out there? So when you come across another black woman, what's that dynamic? Do you embrace her because she's you, or do you hold back because she's you, or are you lukewarm? What is she met with when she meets you? It's a good question.
That's a hard question because if you're a very empathic person and you walk in a room and you go to greet another woman who looks like you, but she's giving you the side eye, that's hard. Yeah. But if she's open and receptive.
What if she's not?
you know, you try to make it work. Like
Do you?
I do, because I have this thing I've been doing for a very long time.
Okay.
I will not. I don't care how bad a woman of color, a black woman
Woman
color
of
is
color. I
talking to me.
don't go
don't-
for
yeah,
that
I don't-
term.
Yeah,
I don't
that,
like
but
that
that's a whole
term.
nother segment, because
Yeah.
something you said remind me later, because the way you just spoke about that, it reminded me of implicit bias and stereotypes.
Mhm.
And if we can't get rid of them for our sake of getting along with others, then how do you expect other people to do it?
Okay.
But I know that's a whole nother segment. But based on what you said, I have started this thing. Well, it's almost been now 5 years.
Okay.
If I see that you're giving me the side eye, I'm not going to give it back to you. I'm going to smile at you, but I'm not going to speak, because you're not open to hear what I have to say. But I will not return that fire to you, because you are another woman. You are another black woman who's struggling, and I have no idea what's on your mind. So, and I don't want to be in public where they be like, see, two angry black women. See, I told you they can't get along. I'm not going to keep perpetuating the stereotypes. So, if I meet you and you're open and you're kind of like, hey, inquisitive, like, hey, I'll be like, hey, girl, how you doing? You know, if you come at me real, you know, because we have different people in different walks of life. Well, hello, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? I'm well. Thank you for asking. I can come out, you know, I always tell people I can go to a backyard boogie, or I can go all the way to the presidential suite at the White House and kick it. I'm adaptable. I'm not a chameleon, but I am very adaptable. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not hiding anything. It's just my strength, my ability. So if I walk into that room and she's not open, because again, what's her viable option? What's her experience? You just let it be, but you show her kindness. But the ones who are open, I'm on them. What are we doing? What's up?
Taisha?
Yeah, similar. For me, I'm always gonna be me. Nobody's gonna dictate that.
Real talk.
I've done so much work on myself to get to who I am and what I am today, and I love the growth inside of me. And anytime I walk into a room, you're gonna be greeted, and I don't care who you are. I could be walking down the street, I could be in the store. If we look face to face, I'm going to smile at you and I'm going to say hi. How you doing? And I do that. I find myself doing that so much. And I only can control me. I can't control the other person. So if you know, if that's not reciprocated, because I have people who I smiled at and said hi, and sometimes they just be like, whatever, maybe they ain't in the mood. Okay, that's fine. But that's not gonna stop me from continuing to just be who I am. Yeah. Right. And that's what it is. I love to meet new people. I'm a people person, so when I come in anywhere, I'm always gonna be like, when I came here, you know, just started talking to her, and she had an open spirit too. That's know where we can just talk, and just sitting here with you ladies today. Look, I know Angie, but I don't know you guys like that, and I feel like I know you now.
You know what I like to do? I bring people together.
Yeah,
you understand me?
That's what it's about.
That's what I like to do. I don't even charge no more.
I thought she would charge.
You know what
After
I
she
mean?
said that, I was going to show. I was about to reach for my purse.
Hey, look here. You know. But,
you sure do.
You know, I'll be trying to, you know, we are the world, we are the children.
We are the children.
You know, we make do brighter day. So let's start giving. You understand me? On that note,
it's a choice we're making.
Hey, we saving our own lives. You know, can we make a better day for you and me?
For you and me, yes.
I mean,
you and
we
me.
just hit the whole verse.
Yes.
And I love it.
The depth right now.
Going to the second verse. Cut it out.
When you're down and out.
That's my song.
That's it, Michael Jackson. He killed his part.
Man, didn't he?
They all did. He
Lord.
did
His Jerry Curl.
Yes. I want to thank y'all. This was fantastic.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I plan on having you guys again if you're willing.
Absolutely.
And shoot, with that, unless we have something else to say, I always say be well, be safe, be kind, be patient. That's all I gotta say. All right. Have a good one. We'll see you again soon.